This unit is on interpersonal communication skills. Interpersonal means how we communicate with others around us. So today we're going to be learning about nonverbal communication, all right? How we use body language and body signals to tell others how we think and feel. So what is nonverbal communication? How do you communicate to others without using words? Well, you actually communicate a lot to other people without using words, okay? So if you look at this chart here, nonverbal communication is all in pink, and there's a lot written in pink. And so nonverbal communication, or NVC for short, it refers to the messages that we send others with our body movements, our facial expressions, our physical stances, etc. Again, all without the use of verbal words. And so being able to understand and decode NVC really allows us to sample a greater swath of communication that others share with us. So a person might not always tell us what they are thinking or feeling, but sometimes we can look at their body language and say, okay, this person is feeling sad or upset, or this person is feeling very confident and happy. And that can inform how we might interact with the person, okay? And so, next slide. So what is your hidden language saying? Body language is not universal. It's actually pretty cultural. And so there are certain things that are fairly universal in facial expressions, but other things we just have to, kind of temper our understanding and know that just because this is commonly what people do when they're feeling or thinking a certain way doesn't mean that's always the case, okay? So this is just an informative piece that, if you see someone doing this, in all likelihood, they are thinking or feeling this way, but that doesn't automatically mean that. All right, so facial expressions. Well, you can tell so much about a person and what they're feeling just by looking at their face. So facial expressions are the ways in which we use various muscles of our face to knowingly, and sometimes unknowingly, we're not conscious that we're doing it, share our thoughts and feelings. So for example, if you look at someone's eyebrows, the orientation, if they're furrowed, that means there's a crease in the middle of their eyebrows and they're kind of coming together. So furrowed eyebrows can mean someone is mad or confused. If their eyebrows are raised and they're going up and they're kind of giving them some wrinkles, they might be surprised. Your mouth, right? If you are smiling is pretty much universal for being happy. And if you're frowning, that's pretty universal for being sad. So those are just a few examples of how facial expressions shape others' perspectives of how we're feeling. And so we might not know that we are frowning, and we might feel sad, and someone might come up and say, like, hey, is everything all right? And it can startle us because we didn't tell them anything was wrong, but they're checking our body language. They're looking at our facial expressions and thinking, oh, he's frowning. His smile is turned upside down. Or his brow is furrowed. He looks mad or confused. I should go talk to them. All right. When you're smiling, people are pretty certain that you're happy, and they're more likely to want to talk to you or come up to you because, you have like a polite and sunny disposition. So sometimes it can be easy to want to be upset or to want to feel sad, but it's also cool to, just tough it out and smile, right? Fake it till you make it. There's a lot of research where, just smiling alone can turn your disposition around. So if you're feeling sad and you start smiling and other people smile back at you, it makes you want to smile more and it lightens and lifts your mood. Eye contact. This is really important for you guys. And it's also really culturally subjective. So this is definitely a tough skill to master. So eye contact is highly cultural, as I just mentioned. If we extend our eye contact with someone, or if we gaze at their eyes too long, in certain cultures, it's considered disrespectful. And so a really good rule of thumb is to look at someone's eyes when first talking to them, when first gaining their attention, and then finding another spot on their face that's close to their eyes, but not exactly their eyes, to look at. So you could maybe look at their eyelashes or the top of their eyelids. Okay, that way you're not staring directly at them and they don't feel threatened. But you are looking at their face to show that you are interested, that you're paying attention to what they say. You can also do nodding. Nodding's great so that you're looking at the person's face, you're not staring directly at their eyes, and you're moving. That way, you know, you don't get uncomfortable, the other person doesn't get uncomfortable. Um, Making eye contact with speaking with someone is good. And again, looking at their face is good. You don't want to look down or look away when you're talking to someone too much, because that's a sign of disinterest. It means, oh, I want to go now. I'm not really interested in what you're saying. I'm not really paying attention. So eye contact is, again, really important. It's also tough to master, and we'll just be practicing this consistently, you know, in class and in person when we get to that point. All right. Body language in general, where we're talking about our physical stances, you know, the arrangement of our arms, our legs. Are we leaning towards someone, away from someone? What gestures are we using? Okay. And these can also clue in others how we might be thinking or feeling. So if we stand close to a person and our bodies are facing them, it means that we know them and that we're comfortable with them. Okay. And so you're more likely to do that with like your family, your friends, your teachers. If we have our arms folded and our shoulders are hunched or we're slouching, it can mean that we are uncomfortable or tired or disinterested. And so this one, teaching you specific examples is okay, but it's more or less just being more aware of your bodies that's important, okay? So being mindful of how we hold our bodies so that others don't get the wrong impression of us, okay? So if you look in the stance, this picture here, this woman has her arms on her hips. They are facing out. This is called arms akimbo, and it's power posing. It can be kind of an intimidating stance. You don't always want to do this. These are just examples of stances and body language positions that you might see in the workplace, okay? So feet are facing towards someone, your body's oriented to them, okay? If you're lowering your head, you don't want to do that too much, especially if you're the same height as the person, because that can make them think that you are uncomfortable or that there's something going on. Blinking too much, right? Same with eye contact. If we blink too much, it can say that we're nervous, or it can communicate that we are feeling nervous or anxious. And if we're squinting, it can make it seem like you're feeling threatened. Maybe that's something that they're saying is making you feel bothered. And so just being conscious of our bodies and trying to orient them in a way where at the very least we're giving off a neutral message so that we don't make others uncomfortable, and hopefully you're giving off a positive message, right? So our back is straight, our shoulders are back, we are looking at the person, we have our bodies turned towards them so that they know that we're paying attention, and we're conversing with them with our words too, in our likelihood. And so this is an example, again, of how we use nonverbal communication in the workplace. So how you dress, that's also nonverbal communication, okay? So having a trimmed haircut, clean shave, a friendly smile, being well-dressed, engaging in a confident handshake, or in this case, we can do maybe foot fives where you bring your shoe to meet the other person's, or elbow fives, right, where you can bump elbows with the person. That way we're not shaking hands and maybe exchanging germs in the process. And like I said earlier, a confident body posture is all about holding yourself up. So standing straight and tall, having your shoulders back as opposed to hunched over and slouched, communicating that you are here in more ways than one, right? You are consciously here with the person, you are confident, you are ready to go.